Hi, it's Chris Watkin here, and I'm joined today by Paul Clarke, who's the boss man of Mr. and Mrs. Clarke, the self-employed estate agency model. Thanks for joining me today, Paul.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
The question I want to ask you, you being a self-employed estate agency model, is if you don't mind me saying, the self-employed model seems a bit Wild Westy at the moment. Is that true? Is it the future of estate agency? Talk to me.
I think it's definitely feels like the Wild West of this industry, but it's definitely the future. I'm adamant and passionate that the whole self-employed brokerage, hybrid, franchise license part of the industry is the future. And I think
You would say that though, wouldn't you?
I would, because I run a brokerage, but I also came into this industry to try and improve it. I set this up because I think having a great person in front of a consumer is beneficial to the consumer. It helps buyers, it helps sellers. It's not new, it's old fashioned. It's back in the day. My father-in-law was an estate agent in Birmingham in the 60s, and it was about him, it was about his personality. People knew him in the community. And I passionately believe in brand, but I also think that person in front of the consumer is what we should be showcasing.
Do you think, I mean, again, the corporates bought up an awful lot of estate agents in the 80s on the back of selling endowments and mortgages. Do you think that ruined estate agency?
Bit before my time, to be honest. I think
the reason why they bought is almost irrelevant. Do you think the corporatization of estate agency has changed the whole estate agency model?
I don't think it ruins it. I think there is a place for corporates. I think there's a place for brands in the industry, and I also think there's a really big place for individuals in the industry. I think the homogenization of brand, of sucking the life out of people and forgetting about them, I think that's detrimental to the industry.
But if you think about it, corporate estate agency only represents probably 15-18% of the UK estate agency market. The vast majority of estate agents are one-man, one-woman band estate agents. Why does the self-employed model help when in reality the vast majority of estate agents are already, if you consider, self-employed? They just happen to run their own business. You're going more of the brokerage model.
And I think because I think parts of the estate agency industry are not done very well. I think marketing is not done very well in estate agency. I think it's starting to get better. I think branding is not done very well, personal branding as well as the corporate brand, and the way we talk to consumers. So I started Mr. and Mrs. Clarke because of a terrible experience selling my house, selling our house, buying a house several times. And instead of whinging about it, I thought, actually, we can do this better. We can have consumer right at the front of the experience instead of it being transactional the whole time. So talking about the corporate, the way it's KPIs, the way it's, how quick can you sell a house? How much can you sell a house for? We've forgotten to build trust up with the consumer by telling stories, a more emotional way of showcasing ourselves as agencies and agents to a consumer. And I listened to one of your brilliant videos with the lady from Dataloft the other day, and I heard her at the EA Masters about we need to build trust up, or consumers want to trust us and to like estate agents. They want good market knowledge, and they need to know that you're going to market their property very well. Well, the majority of stuff I'm seeing that's coming out of estate agents, so self-employed agents and big corporate agents, forgets a lot of that. It's just how quick you sell a house, how much you sell a house for, bricks and mortar, square footage. Let's talk about the story. Let's get emotional about the storytelling.
Do you think most independent estate agents watching this could do that themselves today, couldn't they?
They could, but they don't.
So,
they're estate agents. They're brilliant estate agents, and they sometimes. And I do a lot of mystery shopping. I'm in the process of buying and selling a house at the moment, so I'm seeing firsthand. And I talk to a lot of estate agents who are thinking about jumping corporate shackles into self-employed models.
Do you think the self-employed model, and again, the original question was
Yes.
it the Wild West? Do you think a lot of estate agents, the self-employed model is just there to help as an easy way into running your own business? Because fundamentally, if you set your own estate agency up, from day one, you've got 100% of the costs, but then you get 100% of the income. It's not downside. The other side of the coin is the self-employed model is that you give, we'll use a ballpark figure here,
Sure.
just under a third of your income away up to a certain level, but in return, you get cheap Rightmove, cheap Zoopla, you get cheap CRM systems, and you get some help and guidance through the brokerage. That's it. That is the fundamental trade-off, isn't it?
It is. I think it's a much easier way into business ownership. And I think the word self-employed, I'm not a fan of. I think this is why it's the Wild West. And I seem to always start sort of an answer in some higgledy-piggledy way. It's just the way my brain seems to work. But I think the self-employed model, I don't like. It feels a bit grubby. It feels a bit, one-man band. Actually, the last bit that you talked about, cheap, and then support and guidance and help. That's number
use the
one.
Word inexpensive.
Okay.
I don't like the word cheap.
But that fourth bullet point is the most important bit, and it is a much easier way to come into business ownership.
True.
Because so our agents come and join us, and it's like, right, how are we going to start our agency? How are we going to start our Mr. and Mrs. Clarke Estate Agency? And the same with the other brands. How are we going to start our own estate agency? And we, as the brokerage, have a wealth of experience. So I've been in different businesses, I've set up different businesses, and what help can we give to those agents to grow their businesses? And that's really exciting, and it's really helpful and worthwhile for those agents. It makes it easier.
Would you say it's almost, you're part of the Belvoir network, the Belvoir Group network, who are synonymous with franchising. They own obviously the Belvoir network and Northwards. Would you say it's almost like a franchise light model?
We're a franchise model. We are a franchise business. The agreement we have with our agents is a franchise agreement, and that's why I prefer to call our segment of the industry a brokerage. So similar to the States, Sirhan's massive at the moment in New York, the brokerage, and then we have our agents working, pulling on all those strings that we can offer them. And it's the same with franchising is a fantastic model. You have that brand, you have all the support, and then the local great person operating.
And do you think that's worth, okay. I've worked out that basically, when you start your own self-employed estate agency model, if you're paying full price for Rightmove and Zoopla, you've got to have a chunk of money up front.
Sure.
The cost of having it cheaper, more inexpensive, I know that's not an English phrase, is that you have to give away some of your income in return, but only up to, do you have any form of cap on yours? Or
we don't, so there's no cap on it, and the split our agents get with us is 75-25% split.
Well, so that's slightly better than most.
It is, and there's nuances to ours that some people find more attractive with caps and all of those things. But do I think it's worth it? I think it's absolutely brilliant value. Not just Mr. and Mrs. Clarke. I think a lot of the brokerages offer things to the self-employed agent that can really help them grow their business.
So really the choice, the original question was the wild west.
Yep.
So that shows that there are some unscrupulous practices going on, or things that probably people shouldn't be doing that they should. Without mentioning names, and
Sure.
Please, what practices would you like to see less of?
I won't name names. I think there's brokerages popping up left, right, and centre over the last couple of years, and I think what they offer agents needs to be of a brilliant level. It needs to be really helpful to those people who are investing into that brokerage and into their own business. It needs to help them run. And I look at some, and we do, again, a lot of research about them. What do they actually give that self-employed agent to run their business?
Apart from cheap Rightmove, cheap Zoopla, cheap CRMs.
Yeah. And then some may just let those people go. Off you go and run your own business. And they may be the small ones that are popping up, or the slightly larger internationals that are popping up. And I think we just need to make sure what we offer our agents is brilliant.
I've gone on record to say that you shouldn't make a decision on which self-employed estate agency model you choose based on the percentage split or any caps. Okay, 90% of your decision, and I get asked all the time, and plenty of firms have offered me commission to recommend, which I've always refused, is it really comes down to the relationship that you have between you and your broker and what exactly you're getting out of them in return. Because I reckon, let's say you're giving away, again, around 30%. I know you're a bit less, but I reckon the cheap Rightmove and Zooplas and the cheap CRMs is probably worth half of that, in my humble opinion. But what are you getting for the other half? What guidance and support and training and mentorship and helping you with their mindset? Because we're teaching people how to be good business people who happen to sell houses, not estate agents who are in business.
And we have a massive part in their lives. They've invested in us. So what do we offer? So we've gone very bespoke on our offering to each individual agent. So yes, cheap CRM or actually brilliant CRM, work with a brilliant CRM company, Rightmove, Zoopla. Our offering, well, I'll give you an example from this morning. So as I was walking in here, I was WhatsApping away with our in-house design team. So we have graphic designers, we have content creators, social media exec, and a head of marketing, that we provide a marketing and design agency to all of our agents. So we've got one of our agents is doing a Christmas fair in sponsoring a local school. Standard estate agency marketing, absolutely brilliant. Great advertising sort of bit. But she's spoken to us in the past, said, look, I get creative overload. If I went on my own, I just don't know what to do. I don't know how the board should look. I don't know how the stall should look. We used to run an events company. So me and my wife, Alex, used to run an events and marketing company. So we are able to, a bell rings in our office when a design request comes in, and we've put together in a day a brilliant sort of, spoiler alert, but Ho Ho Home is the board, and then it's all been designed around that particular agent. It has a focus on the school. We've designed that. We have the link with the board company. We're able to get that printed. It flies down to that agent, and they can get those boards up. And then we're working. We've got a mentorship, the marketing side of it. We've got a call with her tomorrow, 2 hours booked in with her to make sure that stall is perfect for her activity. Now that's.
You wouldn't get that with most of the others, would you?
Absolutely, and I don't think I over the years probably haven't got it across to people. Actually,
no,
what our
if you don't mind me saying, your own marketing is pretty atrocious. You're almost keeping your best.
It's
the secrets close to your heart without telling people about this.
It changes now. I'm talking to you, and do you know what? It really excites me talking about that kind of thing, because what we've provided for that agent over the weekend and today would have cost. So talking value, it would have cost thousands to go to a design agency, and this is the marriage between her and the brokerage. And
there you go.
So yeah, but you're totally right. If someone is looking to go into the self-employed model, they need to really look carefully and with an open heart to talk to them. There's some brilliant brokerages out there. You've had all the big players in here, and they all offer a slightly different flavour of brokerage.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a massive fan of the self-employed estate agency model for the right person. Go in with your open eyes, find out what that agency offers, talk to the people who are in it at the moment. Also, you can find people who have left and find out why they left, remembering that the issue might have been them and not the brokerage, and then make your own decision in your own time. Paul, thank you very much for your time today. It's been exceptional.
Pleasure.